Hello again. This is a video about the Enneagram 7 and burnout. We will look at what drives the 7, what is the healthy expression of 7, what is the unhealthy expression of 7, what drives the 7 into the downward spiral, into stress and burnout, and how to get into the upward spiral, into that balanced, healthy expression and away from burnout. So the 7 is in the thinking triad. It is driven by fear. The 7 is driven by the need to escape any discomfort, any negative feelings that might be an expression of fear or that might touch on fear. This the 7 might do consciously or unconsciously. Deep down, the 7 believes that there is a deep wound that will bring them so much pain that they need at all cost to avoid it and to stay away from it. They believe they need to stay away from any fear, any pain, in order to avoid drowning in it. So what they do is they do two things. They distract themselves all the time. They go from one positive, exciting experience to the other, like a butterfly. They see life as a banquet and it needs to be consumed, all of it. They want to sample all the dishes, they want to eat all the good stuff, and they want to eat as much as possible. The second way is to deny or reframe at anything that could be negative or could lead to this experience of fear. So what they do is they look at it through rosy glasses, they see it as something good that nobody else can see, but they can see it, and they keep on seeing the good. They want to believe that things will end in a good way, even when things are going downhill already, or when the proverbial milk has spilled already. So the 7 is in perpetual motion to actually avoid the experience of their true self. They are looking for constant stimulation. They are looking constantly for the next positive, great experience. But in spite of all this action, they always feel unsatisfied. They feel empty. It reminds me of that song, I Can Get No Satisfaction. This is the deepest experience and feeling of the 7. More specifically, the 7 fears any kind of boredom, any kind of stillness, any kind of repetition, because they fear that the stillness will bring them in touch with that deep pain, with this deep wound. And also they fear being stuck with limitations, without a way out, without being able to escape a situation. So when they feel bored, they try to intensify the situation by fiddling, by moving, by rocking back and forth, or bringing some kind of excitement into the situation. Another way is that the 7s make sure that they're good friends with all authority figures, because authority figures can saddle them with uncomfortable work. They can put them into situations where they don't have a choice. So what they do, they are good friends with them. And that is how they avoid that anybody has power over them that will put them into a situation that is uncomfortable or gets them stuck or makes them feel bored. So the gifts of the 7 are, they have the sparkle in the eyes. When you see a 7, you will always see that they have the sparkle in the eyes. There's a bright-eyedness about them. It's this being bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. That is what the 7 brings. They are lively. They bring a lot of upbeat, positive, motivating energy into a room, into a team, into a family. They're fun to be around. They're pleasant. They always bring some interesting angles, some new ideas. They always have ideas for the next great things to do. They're curious and open. They always move to possibility and change. They are not afraid of the new. And they are optimistic. They see the bright side of things. They see the opportunities and possibilities when others are often stuck in just seeing barriers and their way blocked and and things not being great. The sevens are on a constant quest for adventure, and that is also why they're such fun to be with. So the sevens bring joy into the world. They bring joy. They're called the enthusiastic visionary, and I love this because enthusiasm comes from two Greek expressions, from in, enthusiasm, theo, God, in God. So the seven, or the enthusiasm, is about being in God with joy, experiencing the joy of love. However, when the sevens are not in a good space, or the evolution of the seven is towards accepting this space and letting go of the fear of pain, of the wounding, of having to accept and live through a negative, uncomfortable experience. The way there leads through gluttony, and with gluttony in the case of the seven, we mean this constant need for stimulation and positive experience, this constant need to go from one thing to the next thing, this constant need for more and better. That is the gluttony of the seven. The superpowers of the sevens are they can make the best of anything. They can bring joy to any situation. They can make a boring doctor's visit, the waiting in the waiting room, into an exciting experience by chatting to people, by looking out the window and seeing the birds chittering. They can see the upside in anything. They bring hope. They bring possibility. They can be children at any age. A seven as a grandfather can still get down on the ground and play with a child, and the child will love it because the child can see that the seven can really still be like a child, think like a child, act like a child, feel joy and look for joy like a child. They are very likable and relatable people, and they think incredibly fast. They grasp things fast. They make connections between concepts. They can get excited about them. They can show them to others, and they want to share them. They see the bigger picture, and that is also how they find joy in the mundane, in the ordinary, in the facts and the boring. So the animals that represent seven energy are the butterfly that wants to fly from one beautiful blossom to the next, and the otter. When you observe otters, it's like they're constantly playing. They always seem to be floating. They seem to be elegantly just swimming. They seem to be playing with each other. They're snuggling up with each other. They have their hands on their tummy and just feel good. It's like watching constant play. So that is the animals. Those are the animals of the seven. And the seven archetype is Peter Pan, the eternal child, the eternal young boy or girl. Mm-hmm. So in their healthy expression, the sevens move on their path of growth. And they move away from discontent, that constant discontent of not getting what they're looking for. Away from hyperactivity of having to do one thing and the next thing and the next thing, and that gluttony, and they will move away from all of that, and they move instead into satisfaction, into stability, and into moderation. So in the healthy state, the seven is full of ideas, it is optimistic, and it has fun, but also joy. They are energetic, curious and connected to people. They pull others with them, with their smile, into a positive experience. They make anything enjoyable, even the most dreary and unloved tasks. They bring lightheartedness, humor, joy into any experience. They are able to persevere and to endure also uncomfortable situations. They're able to sit with what is uncomfortable so they can move through it into a deeper, stronger experience of life, which includes the positive and the uncomfortable, the negative. In their unhealthy expression, the seven can look a lot like the one. They can also so when they look like the one, it's that heavy energy. It's that glumness of fulfilling duties without really enjoying them in any way. It's just ticking the boxes. It's just slogging through the stuff that needs to be done. They become very rigid and methodical. They go through the motions. They do the things because they cannot put them off any longer. Their carefree life and their carefree choices have led them into situations where they have to face the music. Now they just have to do things. And they need to pay their bills. They have to hold down their job that can give them a future and can take care of things and can give them a future. However, it's with that glumness, this bitterness, the sourness, with which the 7 then does this work. The other expression, the other unhealthy expression of the 7 is that of an overgrown puppy. It's that thing of just being irresponsible and going from one good thing to the next good thing. And what they leave behind are broken commitments, unfinished projects, broken promises, shallow relationships that are not allowed to grow. And on the way, they also self-medicate to distract themselves. That can be anything from work to alcohol to drugs to whatever it takes to not feel negative things, whatever it takes to cut themselves off from negative experiences. So when they are in the negative, unhealthy expression, they suck all the happiness out of the room. The lightheartedness is gone. They're agitated and frustrated. They feel tied down. They feel forced into things. They are bored. Their humor turns into sarcasm. They see things as black and white. They're intensely critical of themselves. And they feel they never meet the bar. And they never get to where they're so straining to get to. So this takes us to how do they get into that downward spiral that leads them into stress and burnout. So these are the things that trigger a 7 really big time. People and institutions that tell them what to do. People placing some kind of limitations on them. You have to do this, you have to do that. These are the priorities. This is your to-do list. This is what you need to do. They feel stuck without options and without an escape plan. That is what is really tough for the 7 to endure. And it is so terrible because they feel they're cut off from experiencing that next thing, of meeting that next person, of having that next shot of a positive, happy experience. They cannot get to that shimmering next happy-making thing. They always have to keep on moving. It feels like they always have to keep on moving. They cannot find the situation or the experience that is actually giving them satisfaction. And being tied down makes this even much worse. 7s have a racing mind, and when they go into a negative experience or when they go into the downward spiral, someone said it's almost like a carbonated mind, and I love that. It's constantly bubbling. It's constantly going somewhere. It's never still. And it's carbonated. It's something that's being done to it. The 7 doesn't feel it can influence or change this in any way. It happens to it. It's a very frustrating experience. So in this downward spiral, the 7 avoids deep relationships or tasks as they are worried they might bring them pain or stuckness. They might slow them enough to actually have to experience discomfort or boredom or frustration. It binds them to one thing and cuts them off from being able to move and experience new and different things. So what they also try to do is they try to see discomfort or negative experiences or situations through rose-colored glasses. They give it a positive spin. They try to see it as something positive when actually it's very difficult or nearly impossible to do so. So when they, for example, regularly deliver sloppy, bad reports past their deadline, they might still be thinking, Oh, my boss really appreciates my work. She is okay with me being late because I really stick to the essence. I keep my reports short, but I still touch on everything that is important and interesting. She really appreciates that. You can see how the negatives are turned into positives in order to avoid looking at this, taking responsibility, and avoid slowing down and looking clearly. So also as a seven will always avoid to admit to, own up to, or participate in anything that is a negative experience or a dark side of anything. So I will always keep on pretending that everything is well. I will keep on smiling. For example, a father who has a son who is drunk regularly and who has lost his job already might still say about the son, "Oh, this is nothing. He is really okay. My son would never be addicted to alcohol. This is just a short blip and it will blow over, and he will even come out a better person at the other side of this." So sevens can go into a fantasy in order to avoid the negative, to avoid looking at an uncomfortable situation. There will be fake positive at any cost. This is already when they are in the downward spiral. The drive of this is to keep a negative experience from their awareness. So it is not quite denial. The 8 goes into denial, but the 7 goes into insisting to look at it in a positive way through rosy glasses. They insist on turning it into something positive and okay, even something pleasant and nice. This is the spin of the 7 to avoid the negative experience. What also really drives the 7 into the downward spiral is this constant need for the next good experience. So as good as everything is now, it's always even far better in the future because I'm planning this next incredible thing. So I can never be present. I always believe the next thing is going to be the thing that will really give me satisfaction, that can really, in a sense, heal my wound and distract me enough to never have to feel any pain ever again. So they need to keep on moving fast. They need to be more good stuff, more often, all the time. And it also needs to be better and better and better all the time. So the 7 in the downward spiral is constantly moving towards something and away from the present, but towards the next promising future. And when they get there, it is just as dissatisfying, just as flat as the last present moment, as the place they came from. So the 7 does know that on a very deep level, the 7 does know that they're trying to run away from the pain that is within themselves. But they cannot bear stopping long enough and looking closely because they feel they will be completely overwhelmed. And this is what drives the downward spiral. The 7 keeps on doing more of what makes it worse, which is keep on running, keep on going for the next great thing. They cannot say no to themselves. If anything promises to be halfway fun, if there's a vague shimmer of possibility of fun and distraction, it's very difficult to stay away from it. So they do a lot and all the time. And this way, friendships break apart under this pressure. They cannot stay with someone long enough to really build a deep relationship. They feel they want to get to know the next person. So once I'm distracted from my last acquaintance, I feel this energy is already boring. I'm on to the next person and the next experience. And they never get the satisfaction of a deep, loving, healing experience. And the same is true for work. I'm excited about, marketing and sales right now, but I've done this for some time now, and now I find that strategy is so much more exciting. So I've never gone into the depth of marketing of sales with my charm and my positivity. I've pulled up off some great deals, but now I want to do the next thing. I don't grow in this job. And often I'm also just staying with jobs that do not take up too much of my time because I do want time to do all the other exciting stuff in my life. So building a career, getting deep, moving on can be very challenging for a 7. So their work suffers from refusing to obey rules, from refusing to keep to deadlines, from refusing to go deeper and learn more and to build strong and enduring relationships. Meanwhile, they're being left behind as well. Their wounds are still festering and their dissatisfaction is still growing. So how does the 7 move into the upward spiral? For the 7, the key is to take a scoop of that healthy, high side dad energy of the 1, which means take care of my duties first, stand up to my responsibilities, face what needs to be faced, take care of it, take care of people that depend on me, do my things with love and joy, do them even-handedly. Don't look for joy and fun all the time. And this is where it goes into the high side of the 5. The high side of the 5 is the healing energy for the 7. And the high side of the 5 means slowing down and going deep, allowing relationships to go deep, allowing myself to sit with something, to truly understand it, to sit with my feelings, allowing myself to feel the whole range of feelings, the good and the bad. Allow myself to feel the warmth and the sunshine and the brightness after a storm. Allow myself to feel the storm so I can be more grounded, more empathic, more connected to everything around myself. Allow myself to feel the whole range, to observe, to go deep, to gather the facts, to create meaning, to create understanding, and then also take joy from that. Take joy from seeing the things without being attached to them, because I need them to be positive and good and great and fun. So in short, the 7 needs to slow down and experience everything. It needs to give up that attitude of needing everything to serve me as a 7, as a distraction. I need to look at the pain in myself and in others so I can connect with people, so I can heal myself and I can have healthy, satisfying relationships with others. I need to take time to relax and to reflect on myself, to reflect on what is happening around me, to reflect on that report, to reflect on how my son is actually doing. That is how I will actually get to these satisfying experiences that I am looking for. I need to accept the responsibilities and the consequences of my actions. I need to face up to my mess and I need to take care of it. That is also the positive dad energy of the 1. And this usually happens when the 7 can no longer evade to see the mess that the shallow relationship, the humor and constant distractions have left the 7 with. By going into the upward spiral, the 7 can also lean into the 6. The 6 teaches the 7 to be more cautious, to be more prepared, to think ahead, to think about where do I spend my money. If I want more beautiful, fashionable pieces to wear, if I want more experiences in a lot of, weekend visits to new places, will I have enough money to pay my insurances, to pay my bills, and to pay for groceries? The 6 cautions the 7 to slow down, to look ahead, to plan, and to moderate my fun so I can have everything that I need in my life, so I can take up all my responsibilities fully. The other neighbor, the 8, can also help the 7. It says, stay on your own feet, be reliable, take care of people around you, set clear boundaries for yourself and for others. Don't overstep boundaries and lean too much into others for fun, but become more self-reliant. Don't please others in order to have an easy ride. It is not something that will help you long term. So 8 is the proverbial adult energy. It offers to the 7 to grow up, to leave the child Peter Pan behind, to take the joy that Peter Pan can have in life, but to take care of themselves, to heal their wound, and to take care of people and responsibilities around them with joy. Here are some more things in how the 5 energy can assist the 7. So the 5 energy invites the 7 to focus and to slow down, to dig deep, to really grasp new things and concepts and really enjoy them, and then to share them. The 7 loves to share them, and they share them with enthusiasm, so they become specialists at something. For example, an Enneagram teacher. My 7 energy is really enjoying understanding all the different positions in the Enneagram, to connect how they work together, how they flow into each other, to see the bigger picture, but also to really zoom in into each Ennea, and excites me. I love it, and I love to share it. This is an example of high side 5 and 7 energy. So the 5 also helps to steady that focus, and it also helps the 7 to accept that life can also be hard. It helps the 7 to see everything with more objectivity and just go down to the facts. It helps the 7 to see that this is not about fun. It is about seeing what is important and focusing on that. The 5 teaches the 7 that things cannot be appreciated and loved on the surface level. It's by digging deep, by learning more, that the real deep appreciation for something comes. The 5 also teaches the 7 that joy is also in stillness. Joy is in connecting with ourselves. Joy is in leaning back and looking at things with stillness. So the 7's biggest adventure is the transformation of fun into joy, is to find stillness and heal, is to connect with others, to share their joy, to share their enthusiasm, to share their positivity. So they transform seeking fun into the expression of joy.